Hi there. Hey there, ho there. We're as happy as can be. Another week, another session, 3-ball walk. Eddie, Bob, I'm Julio, and we're here to talk about baseball. Baseball.
And excuse me, to start this thing off, we're in the first week of July, and Atlanta Braves, although the lead is slimmer, still in first place.
It's one game, isn't it?
1.5 games. It's one.
I thought it was one.
Well, I'll tell you what, right now you
morning-
got to be loving it, though, because in my opinion, the lead is 7. And because it's Philadelphia they're ahead of, and the Phillies, they're not going to be there at the end either, I don't think.
Oh, I think they are.
You like the Phillies?
I
They're
like
young.
the Phillies. I think they're going to make a
teams,
deal. I think the Phillies are going to add
Yep.
somebody.
I do too.
I think they're going to add Machado.
Yep.
The Phillies are going to go give them a shot.
I think they're going to get a bat, and then you got a young pitching staff, and then it's the pressure's on Washington.
Totally.
Washington's lost.
17 out of 22.
Is that?
And Harper is in, although he hit one 500 feet the other night, they are in a pretty bad slump.
The other 10 added together added up to 500.
Yeah, he crushed it.
Yeah, well, yeah, when you hit one long way, yeah. And maybe they'll figure it out. I don't know, but 7 games, yeah, that's makeable. I think for Washington if they get hot with their pitching staff. So,
But do you think it's easier when it's just one team you got to get over, or is it more difficult when you got past 2 teams?
it's just the games.
See, I totally agree with that.
That's interesting. No, well, that's what I'm
It's
asking.
just games. It doesn't matter how many teams are between you and them. It's just games.
Who wins what?
If it's all about you winning,
Mm-hmm.
if you win more than the other teams, you're going to catch them. But if it gets a big gap, I mean, we couldn't say that for everybody.
Right.
Now, I'll tell you where that does enter, though, is when there's 2 teams ahead of you and they're playing, and you need them both to lose.
Right, exactly.
Then the fact that there's 2 teams ahead of you does you more harm. You know,
Well,
because
it kind of balances out unless one team goes on a streak and wins 6 in a row against the other team,
Right.
and that could vault you into second.
and then you don't pass. But then you don't pass that one.
Right, but you're more than likely going to pass for the for the wild card, and so now with the wild card, as you said, which doesn't make the pennant races interesting. That makes
I'll tell you the one. I was looking at a stat the other day on Matt Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen his numbers lately?
No, I haven't.
His velo's up about 4 or 5 miles an hour. He's not walking people. His strikeout he was with the Mets. He was like at 1-to-1 strikeouts to walk.
Well, he's also not going partying all night long.
3.3 strikeouts to walk.
Who's he with now?
Cincinnati.
Ah,
And they're talking about the Phillies maybe getting him as well.
and he's one that all of a sudden who'd have thunk it, but you know.
it's a question. I mean, he must really like that managerial style with the interim manager. Maybe a laissez-faire, let it go, hey, who cares kind of attitude that they have. I mean, they were talking about that the other day. I was watching the Reds play, and they were talking about the fact that with the new manager, the team's gotten healthy, and they like Riggleman, and Riggleman's just kind of letting everybody go kind of stuff, and maybe that fits Harvey's style. Maybe that was part of the reason in New York he wasn't doing well. Too many expectations on him in the Mets, and he couldn't handle that, or maybe, I don't know, maybe he likes to, as Bob said, maybe he's not partying as much now he's not in New York, not spending as much time out. Who knows? I don't know his problem.
learned quite a bit.
What are the pressures? I mean, you think about some guys who can go to New York and handle the pressure, and other guys just can't. I mean, the bigger lens on you, and it adds pressure maybe that some guys just can't do.
Well, you got the media, and certainly the Post is notorious for bringing guys up on the back page, and you don't want to do anything stupid. I mean, I'm sure Tebow's headshot was on the back of the Post after he bounced one off his noggin off the wall. And I saw one headline that said Tebow plays a ball off his head. You're like, you didn't play it off your head. It bounced off a wall. You missed it and it hit you in the head. You weren't playing it off your head. That's kind of a dumb headline.
He did make the All-Star team.
He did, man. And I think he's going to make if he keeps anything close to what he did next month, I think he'll get a September call-up.
Yep.
Just to put fannies in the seats.
Sure.
And
because they're in a sell mode.
Is he on the 40-man roster? That's which I don't know if he is.
No.
But he's on a minor league contract.
he's under minor league contract.
Then to bring him up, you got to put him on the 40-man, which means you got to take somebody off the 40-man.
They don't have a problem with that.
I don't think that. Yeah, they wouldn't have a problem taking somebody down. I don't think at this
Which
point
means a clear way. I mean, you're basically losing
they're going
a player.
to. Well,
on
they're
the
going
40-man
to.
They're going to sell.
They're going to sell somebody off, and then
I've read Cabrera, DeGrom, possibly
minor leaguers that
Syndergaard.
you don't have to put on the
Right,
40 man.
right. You're going to be in a sell mode.
And send them up and down, just till you get to September, and then
This is my favorite time, other than the opening day and then of course the playoffs. But I love the next 3 weeks to see what happens because I really
Well,
think
you're our expert.
Well, no, I don't say that.
And what do we have? What do we need to be looking out for?
I think what Eddie said. I think Machado is the linchpin. I think once he goes, and he goes sooner than later
To the Phillies?
To the Phillies.
You think to the Phillies?
I think the
also?
Phillies. I think it's going to be the Phillies, or it's going to be a National League team. I think. But
You
I
had
think
him going to L.A.
I still say the Dodgers are in. The Dodgers are my second thing I put there.
Oh, there you go. Phillies, Dodgers.
Dodgers. I think that he could go stay in the American League, but I think he goes to the National League, and the Phillies is what everybody's talking about right now. And I think that I think a team is going to want to trade for him sooner than later because I'd rather have him 2.5 months than just 2 months.
yeah.
For a bat, and I think that once he goes, I think then the dominoes fall.
You
and
even got the
other
Braves
trades-
there.
The Braves are mentioned, but he's not going to Atlanta. They're not going to give. They're not going to trade for him. He's a rental. He's not. The Braves are. Everybody says the Braves are a year ahead of schedule. And let me ask you this. I remember several years ago when Washington had checked for playoffs, and Strasburg was on an innings
His rookie
count.
year.
Yeah.
So
Right.
he wouldn't get hurt, which he did the following
Yeah,
year.
it didn't help.
And they had a chance to go to the playoffs, and they pulled him. They said,
Yep.
"Okay, you're done," and then they didn't make the play. They were in the running, and then they didn't.
No,
make
they
it.
made the playoffs. They lost in the first
Oh,
round.
that's my
Right,
first round.
he didn't
My bad.
pitch because they shut
He
him
didn't
down.
pitch. They shut him down. Do you see?
And you see how many World Series they were able to win after that.
Yeah, they've been on a tear. It's been. But do you see like the same kind of thing? Are you gonna do the similar thing in making it going for a rental if you're the Braves and giving up the farm? I don't say the Braves do that, but the Phillies I think are different. And I think
Bigger
bigger market. Yeah.
I think it's hard to think of Atlanta not being a big market for me, but I guess they're not technically.
Or
a
like
big market.
Washington. Washington's not a big market. It's a nation's capital, but it's not too far from New York, and you think that would be a bigger market. And Philly's in that bunch right there. Baltimore's right there too.
Yeah, I think Phillies makes the better sense, and I'm with you. I think if he doesn't go to the Phillies, goes to the Dodgers.
And I think the Braves have a better chance of getting someone like Michael Moustakas from the Royals or Escobar from the Twins, who are still solid players. Escobar's, I think he's 30 now, can play 3 different positions. And Moustakas, who's a pretty good third baseman for the Royals. I think those guys make better benefit for Atlanta, but they got to get some bullpen help too. They need a pitcher.
The Braves.
Which is why I think you might see DeGrom go there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If you're the Braves right now, why would you trade for a position player when you got young talent that's doing pretty well? I mean, I would keep my young talent there and go for a
Would
pitcher
too.
for a couple of years who you can either keep or re-sign if they love Atlanta, or you get rid of them.
And the guy you don't hear about anymore because he's been hurt is Chris Archer. The Rays,
Well, they need him.
right? No, right. Well,
They
He's
do.
hurt, isn't he? Or is
he's
back?
on the DL right now.
He's
I
on the
think.
deal.
Because we were talking about the that last week about the pitching by committee choice, and you finally got some clarification on that.
It's interesting. The Rays have 2 starters. They've got a 2-man rotation, and they start them every other game. So that kind of gets them through. And then
Every third game.
Well, they start them. Yeah. Well, they basically go bullpen by committee between their 2
Right.
starters.
So you have a starter, and then the next game,
like a real starter
a real
or their starter?
They're a
They
real
have a
starter.
designated starter for the bullpen. by
Right. So
committee.
explain. So bullpen. So there's just one guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the starter.
Okay.
And then they have their starting reliever who comes in the 3rd inning. Then they have another reliever, and then they kind of wrap it up or whatever. But they use 5 or 6 guys, and those 5 or 6 guys, they'll pitch tonight. Tomorrow they're going regular situation with a real starter and play, and then the next day they got that same little rotation again. So basically, as a reliever, you're going to throw about 2 innings every other day,
Every other
Wow.
game.
every other game, and it's worked. Best ERA in baseball since mid-May. And they're over 500.
They're at 500 now. They
Are they
lost
back
last
then?
night.
No, so that's like
Okay.
the Marlins.
So they're back at 500.
The Marlins.
They lost to the Marlins, who won 35 games now.
They got shut out 3-0.
Yeah.
And that's where they're hurting. As good as they're pitching, and you've got the 1-run game count. It's some
Well, it
major
was
league-
20. It was 20 last week. I didn't follow up this week.
But you win 10 of those.
And you're 10 games over.
And you're 20 games over
20 games
500.
over. Yeah, because you lost.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
if they just split on those 20 whatever one-run games they've lost, and it's because of
No hitting.
no hitting.
Yep.
Got rid of all your good hitters. Got rid of all your good bats. And when you got rid of all your good bats, guess what happens?
You don't win.
You don't score enough to win.
Speaking of getting rid of your good bats, the Marlins won 3-0. And Giancarlo, I think they've got 45 home runs now, right? 21 and 24.
Yeah.
Between him and Judge.
Yeah. And the Yankees are on pace to set the all-time record for a team in a season too.
Over who holds that?
I think
The
that's-
Orioles?
No, Seattle. I think. The Mariners.
The Orioles in '97, I remember, had the
I think it was the
8
Mariners.
guys hit 20 or more.
Yeah,
That's-
Mariners in '99. I think is what it was.
We'll have to check it out. Was that Griffey's year?
Pretty sure. Yeah, I think Griffey was there. But yeah, the Mariners. But Stanton's starting to heat up, and the Yankees. I'll tell you, the guy in the Yankees though is Severino. I mean, he is.
well,
dealing.
that's what they needed.
Yeah. And they've been talking about trading Betances forever, so I don't know if they're going to move him. But the Yankees are going to make a deal because did you watch it over the weekend with the Yankees and Red Sox? It was just 3 blowouts. The Yankees blew them out Friday night. The Red Sox crushed them, and then the Yankees on Sunday. It
And
was,
the Red Sox are back to
it was like watching softball.
having the best record in baseball.
Yeah.
Right. But if you win 2 out of 3 against them every time you play them,
Right.
you end up passing them.
Yep.
Because they got to have a couple more series together, and they're only one
They
game
end,
back.
and they end the season again.
And I still say that the toughest team for them to play is going to be the wild card team.
Oh yeah.
And do you want to be the 1 seed and play the wild card
No.
team? But then you know what? The other side of it, if you don't win that division, you're going to be the wild card team, and you're going to be playing that other team.
You got to
anyway.
play. You got to play the other team for one game either way.
Yeah.
So do you want to play them for a series, or you want to play them for
No.
one game?
No, you're going to play them for the series. The question is, do you want to have to play that one game to have to play them for the series?
Right.
Because whoever finishes first will play the other if the other one winds up coming out of the wild card. So by winning the wild card, you're going to wind up playing the first place team in the AL East.
All right. So the AL East team wins. Let's say if it ended right now, Boston wins, New York is the wild card.
But New York will wind up having to play Seattle.
So that means Houston is the West winner,
Correct.
Right.
and Seattle is the wild card. So New York plays Seattle. Is it a coin toss, or they play it whoever's got the best record?
The best record is the
So
home team for the wild
They
card.
go to New York and play.
And the winner winds up having to play the Red Sox.
The Red Sox.
And the Astros, by having the second best record, get the low division. Who is it now? Cleveland?
Cleveland, yeah. Who
It's
else?
Cleveland.
Gets
Well, Cleveland, that was the division that a few weeks ago, you were sitting there, it was you. Oh, the losing record's going to, what are they, 11 over by now? I mean, they've gotten hot,
They've gotten hot. They're 11 over.
and they're a good
Is
team.
anybody else?
They're a
Is
good
anybody
team.
else in the
But I'm-
Central
but
over
I'm just-
500?
Detroit? No, I don't think so. Detroit's 10.
He only put one team there,
All right,
which means probably.
Probably only one team is above 500. So if you think about that, that's, 11, 40, 42, and 42.
That's what,
6 games back.
you know what's amazing? That's what makes that Yankee Red Sox even more incredible. Because you've got the best team in the wild card, and you're playing more games against the Red Sox and against the AL East than the other dudes are. Now, granted, you get to play the Orioles.
Right.
And you get to play the Rays.
The Rays are good. The Rays are above 500. Well,
They're even.
500.
They're even at 500.
Yeah, because they've had to play the Red Sox and the Yankees so much.
And they've had to, then they got to
That's
play.
why. That's why I can't stand this unbalanced schedule.
think about
it's just
it.
totally
Well,
unfair.
Hey, think about this. Atlanta had to play New York, had to play the Yankees for their interdivisional, and Philadelphia got to play Baltimore.
Well, no.
Yeah.
They wind up. Yeah, but they wind up having to play the Yankees as well.
Do they have to play everybody in that division?
Well, because the Braves' little counterpart is the Red Sox. And I don't know why, because I guess because the Braves were Boston one time.
Yes.
Because the Yankees are the Mets. The Yankees and the Mets are the ones that play every year. And then you play the Phillies play the Orioles. That is their little thing. The Marlins play the Rays. And then Washington plays Toronto.
So that means Atlanta-
Why does Washington play Toronto?
Because it
When
used
they
to be
first
the
did it,
Expos.
it was the two
Expos,
Canadian
right.
teams. Okay, so that's the one you always play, but you wind up having to play. And this year, it just so happens the East plays the East. That's why they're having to play.
So they
that's why
play
the
Boston and the Yankees if you're the Braves. Yeah.
Oh no, and you play the Yankees no, if you're the Braves, you play Boston and the Yankees, but you play the Red Sox twice because that's also your rival team.
I know we're out of time for the first segment.
Yep.
Card show this Saturday, Mandarin Ramada Inn. Come out, have a great time. You might
It's
even
going to
see
be good.
It's going to be a good.
Cards have been sorted. They are ready.
They're
and
ready.
he's got good ones because he could have had free burgers yesterday, 4th of July.
And I turned it
Couldn't
into
do
sort.
it because he had to sort
sort
cards.
cards.
He has gotten ready for the show.
I'm ready.
Go see Bob
Go see
in
Bob.
Mandarin.
We'll see you guys right
See you
back
guys.
after the break.
Peace.